Sometimes you'll want to do a quiz in order to dial in what your avatar is. If you don't know the word avatar, that means an ideal description of the person that you're working with in your business. All right. One of the most important things you can do is create a customer persona. And one of the ways you do that is to directly interview people, or you can set up a quiz on a page and ask them questions and then extract data out of those questions, put them in a spreadsheet so you start collecting like the language that they're using, their belief systems, their desires, their pain points, and so on. So today I'm going to talk about ResponseSuite, which is my tool of choice for collecting data. All right, so let's jump in. All right, quick overview of ResponseSuite. On the left, you'll see our menu items: dashboards, surveys, reports, integration setup, media library, partner program, which is the affiliate program, training, and support. They have amazing support. They've always responded within a couple of days, and they always follow up to make sure I got whatever they responded with resolved. On the dashboard, you're going to see the total surveys. You can create a new survey from here, response statistics, and so on and so forth. Now, what I have found for myself is I go through periods of time where I'm using surveys and then I just leave them out there, but I'm not really actively promoting those particular funnels. So most of my surveys are connected to funnels that I'm usually doing a campaign or something. But that's a whole nother conversation. So let's look at surveys. So you've got a create button and a view all. You can see that my different ones, you can toggle them on or off. You can see when it was created, updated. I actually updated a couple of mine recently with some new questions. Number of visits that have happened, responses, completion rate. You can go in here to edit, you can view, you can see the settings, you can share the funnel, and then you've got more options here. All right. You've got a report feature where you can go in and look at your different, you can create different reports. I'll do a separate video on reporting because there's some nuances you want to pay attention to. For example, if we look at this quiz right here, let's go ahead and view it. You'll see that some of my questions are long and the answers or the question gets cut off. So you want to be sensitive of which one you select, which type of image you select, because some of them you won't see your type very well. So that's just kind of a little sidebar if you happen to use this tool. You've got different integrations that you can go out and connect to your external systems. I haven't actually needed to do that because I don't mind embedding my form right on a page, which is super simple. But if you prefer integrations, that's great. You'll see marketing here. You'll see different types of memberships, different productivity tools, audiences, storage systems, so you can connect externally. You've got a media library. You've got a partner program, which is their affiliate program. You've got different training tutorials. All right. Very thorough. Really, it's actually a very easy to use product once you've built one funnel or one survey. Yeah, so let's just go in and do one really quickly. You can create from scratch, duplicate. Now, duplicate would be something that would interest me because my DDS surveys are often very similar. Or I could create a template. Or one of their templates. So let's just create one from scratch. I'm going to say test survey. And they want you to answer, what's the purpose? I'm going to say I want to play around, create a survey. All right, so now you've got this optional header. You've got a description of the header. Let's just put my favorite survey. And then you want to add some, see what I just did was I clicked right here and this menu came out. So now I want to drag over, this is my headline, all right? Here, I want to center it, so I'm going to click here, go down and select center. It's very typical for most of your editors, right? I've got body text here I can drag out. I've got different sections. I can do different page breaks, which I prefer because I think people respond better when they have shorter little segments to fill out. And if you put a progress bar across the top, then you'll encourage them to keep going through the entire survey that you're doing. You've got columns, you've got just different terms, you've got images, you've got videos, spacers, questions, images, and so on, okay? So let's drag out a question. And it's asking me for a type, all right? So, or type my question here. So let's say, what is your gender, right? And what I want to do is I want an answer type. So this is where it gets to be really powerful. I've got text, multi-line text, numbers, single choice, multiple choice, drop-down menus, dates, emails, ratings, scales, sliders. I'm not sure what MPS is. Single choice, multiple choice. But notice this is different from up here, whereas these have images, which is really popular in the ask method for using Ryan Levesque's ask method system. Single choice answer, multiple choice. Again, there's probably some kind of a picture opportunity here. Priorities, you can move your priorities around. You've got a file upload, you've got a matrix they can fill out, and a contact block. All right, so there's all the choices you could ever imagine. Let's just do a really simple single choice. We'll drag this out. There we go. And we'll say male. And we'll say add again, female. Right, and so now that question has been set up. I can drag out another question. Let's see, what do I want? I want a text. I can say, how did you hear about us? And I could say, I want a simple answer, so I can just drag this out. I can type in a helper message here. Tell us in a couple words how you found out about us. Right? Let's see, what else do we want? Let's just drag another one out here. I think I want to just do this little slider thing. I'm going to put this out here and say, how would you rate other people or coaches, let's say coaches, you've worked with in general? So again, I'm just giving you some examples of a mini little survey. This is probably not the appropriate question after this one. There's a whole science to how to language your surveys, what position, how many questions to have, and so forth. But I wanted you to see the feature that they can just drag and make it super simple to answer here. All right, so you're getting the idea. So you got all these choices, and then I can say, or you can just go save and next. And now you've got some really interesting things you can do. You've got, so right now we're in the settings area. On the left here, you'll see general, conditional logic, marketing information settings, membership integration settings, productivity integration. Now, I have not used most of these. Okay, I've used the conditional logic, fairly simple to use. This I use, of course, show my survey header. I can remove that and use my own header. I can say question numbers I want, multiple submissions. You can collect their IP address, email notification. So if you want to be notified of the response that person gave you, then you would put in your an email that sends you an email that somebody filled it out. I can hide ResponseSuite branding. I can show a cookie policy permission pop-up so I'm GDPR compliant. I don't ever have these surveys published publicly. That would be a good exploration for me to think about how that could be used effectively, but right at this point I don't use it for that. And then access, you can give a password if you want to. You can put in a different author here. All right, so I'm just going to hit save. Actually, all I need to do is hit next because it'll save it for me. I can set up a thank you page. I can say, stay on the page I'm on, build a thank you page, which is super simple, or use my own URL. Now, I often will use my own URL because I want to pixel in my my page builder, my funnel builder. I like to measure when they land on a certain page, so I often will use my own URL. And then if I want to share, I can, let's say I want to embed this survey on my website. I just copy this code right here. I can press this, or I often just double click and hit copy. I can use a friendly URL at the end of it, or I can just live with whatever. I often don't show the URL, so I don't really care. Yeah, and so there you go. There's a simple form, very simple to use. There's a few features that I have obviously not showed you that give it a lot of power. The conditional logic is a very powerful feature. This funnel right here, this communication type. Let's go in here and actually look at this so you can see what I've done here. So this has to do with relationship conflict. I'm collecting data on how people relate to conflict in their life. I have a website called Relationship Made Easier. And so here you can see I have different sections. I have a progress bar that I loaded in. You can see here it gives me show survey header, page transition style, automatic page advance, hide page back button, show inactive black and white. I can change backgrounds, change my canvas, questions, show question numbers, show question background, text answers. I can style the box. There's just pretty much anything I want. Here's the progress bar. You can see I've selected this orange here, striped active bar. I can put it at the bottom if I want. I can tell it what percentage of the way, and I can even do footer stuff here. All right. So very powerful tool. All right, so let's work our way through this so you can see. So I built my questions out. Most of them are single choice. I built that through, and then I said, okay, next. Now my settings, this is where it gets interesting. So in settings, you've got features, you've got show survey headers, you got all these different choices. You've got some details here. You've got password protection. And this particular one, I've updated permissions and privacy. Now, I'm actually not using conditional logic on this one, but I am doing something in the next step that's kind of interesting. Let's go to the next step. So in my thank you, I'm saying if their score is 15 or between 0 and 15, send them to this URL. If it's between 16 and 23, so what I'm doing is I'm scoring each of their answers and send them to this URL. And I'll show you here what that looks like. Let me just copy it. Between 24 and 31, and so on and so forth. So let's open up a different page and let's go look at that so you can see what that looks like. So here's an answer, a final answer based on the score that they got. And what I'm doing is I'm giving them the answer right here. Based on your answers, here's a recommended reading for your type of communication style, mistrusting. Now, up to this point, I have not collected their name and email. This is a completely free survey up to this point, right? Communicating effectively during conflict is the number one skill you have for the rest of your life. So I'm trying to encourage them to move forward here. If they click this, then an opt-in will come up, and then they will get this particular tool. And that tool was designed to go into more detail about this answer. So they get a teaser answer here, and then they click on this to go deeper, and then it sends them to this. So there's a good example of how complex you can make your survey. Again, conditional logic is also another one that's very complex, but you got to think it through. This one took me a while to think through, but I think it works fine for what it's trying to do. All right, so then I say next. And again, I always go for this option here at the bottom where I do an embed on my page because I'm always collecting data on my website, and I want to use my web pages as my measuring tool for where people are at in any place in my funnel. All right, so be sure to put your questions below. I love this tool. I actually have used about probably 6 different tools, including form type, which is one of the most popular. And I can tell you this does everything and then some that form type will do. And, you know, everybody has a preference, but I really like ResponseSuite. I think this guy that markets this tool, he's also a marketer. And so he's always adding things that are logically going on in my head. What I like about ResponseSuite is it's all self-contained and really simple. And I highly recommend pick a tool and just stick with it. You don't have to bounce around to all these AppSumo deals like I did for years because I was confused at what I was trying to do. And the truth is, once you get used to a tool, just use it and use it and use it and use it. All right, that's all for now. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Put your questions below, and if you're thinking of even testing this tool, please use my affiliate link, of course, which really encourages me to create more of these videos so you can see what's going on before you engage, before you waste your time. All right, so I hope you can see that ResponseSuite does an amazing job at allowing us to build our quizzes, build our surveys. It has just about every choice you can possibly imagine. And let me just give you a couple of tips here. I do surveys, even like if I have a training course, at the end of every lesson, I put a little button that says, please give feedback. and I send them out. I actually use a different tool for that, but you can use ResponseSuite for the same thing that I use the other tool for, which I'll do a review on later. But what you're doing is you can do like a star rating, and then, if you were to change anything about this lesson, what would you do? And just make it really fast, really easy for them to give you feedback. All right. Another way to use it is defining your avatar. Sometimes before I even pick a brand, like some of my brands are Trauma Healing Made Easier, Relationships Made Easier, Communication Made Easier, and my Ed Farragon Coaching Mindfulness Coaching program. I do a survey first. I will spend several $100s, drive traffic to that free download, and then I'll get a certain percentage of people. When they land on the thank you page, I have a little video that asks them to fill out the survey, and I will post a link so you can experience this for yourself, so you can maybe even write down the questions I'm asking so you get a sense of how to do it for yourself. But the point is that the goal of that exercise is to collect data, and just realize you only get a few people that will be willing to fill it out, and that's okay. That's just part of the deal. Another way that I use it is before somebody does coaching with me in the free session, I use a quiz or a survey to collect data, so it saves time in the coaching session because I already have information that's already been asked, and it goes to a spreadsheet. So it's all nicely laid out for me, so I can go back and pull data out of that for a better description of my avatar. So I'm using it very strategically in my business to grab information that is useful for copywriting, for headlines, for bullet points, and for the writing of the copy. So I'm naming things and using the language of my ideal client. Hope that's helpful. Many blessings. Be sure to use the affiliate link if you decide you want to check it out and investigate further. And many blessings for doing that. And of course, be sure to read the stuff about my affiliate links. I do receive a commission, but that's pretty normal in the industry. And you don't get charged any more or any less for using my links. So many blessings.